It is not his money. It is the money from taxpayers that we are paying other Kenyans who have been killed. It is not money from William Ruto or Raila Odinga. And you know, they have the audacity to tell us, Professor Mutua is now going to be in charge of compensation. To hell with compensation. Let us say, how are we bringing this matter to a closure, that never again shall we allow our people to die in the streets because they have a different political opinion? Well, it is still the same thing, Raila. I don't even blame the party called ODM, because there are many members of ODM who are not happy with this arrangement. The so-called is it?
Broad-based.
Broad-based or bread-based or whatever it is anyway. I don't want to add more semantics. But it is just Raila doing it. You saw it the other day when he was defending it and saying, we'll present our case, you present your case, and we'll see who is believable. And you could see it is a personal thing. It is no longer about the party. But good enough at times, because we've done a bit of industrial psychology, you could get from the audience that it was not as enthusiastic as when Orengo arrived and when Anyang' Nyong'o arrived. We have to say as is. Let them not pretend. Raila and Ruto, let them not pretend. 2007, they know what happened. And that's how they got into the broad-based government.
That's a highly emotive subject, Waziri, we bring it
up. It is, but I'm saying they know what happened. I'm not saying they kill people. They know what happened.
Tired of the same old shopping experience? Step into a smarter way to shop with Whiteson Group, Kenya's go-to online store for quality you can trust. From gadgets and homeware to everyday essentials, we deliver convenience right to your door. Fast shopping, secure payments, and top-notch customer care, all in one place. Visit whitesongroup.com today. Whiteson Group, simple, reliable, delivered.
I am truly delighted to have you on Richard Mwenja Exclusive. You're just in time for the most comprehensive analysis when it comes to Kenya's political and governance landscape. Welcome on board, and yet again, as usual, every Tuesday, I'm in the phenomenal company of this renowned thought leader. He served this country in many capacities, prime of it as Agriculture CS in Kibaki 1 cabinet, went ahead to serve this country as a diplomat, served the people of Cherangani constituency for 20 years, that is 4 terms back to back. He is none other than the first of his name, Honorable Kipruto Arab Kiro. Great to see you, Waziri.
It's my pleasure too. We'll share something with Kenyans. And I hope we'll be getting feedback that is useful for us to realign our thoughts and make this country better.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe our starting point for today's conversation has to be from the Saturday visit at State House. We saw State House welcome thousands of youths, Kenyan youths, under what was dubbed as empowerment program within Nairobi County. And some have argued that for the first time, we are witnessing people going to their house, the house of the people. And some have also argued it's under Ruto's presidency where we are seeing State House no longer preserved for the rich, the powerful, the untouchable. And there are two things to this element. There are those who say you are now indignifying State House. Others say that finally, President Ruto is going to now get the Gen Z votes by putting this gesture forth. How do you really render the entire visit on Saturday to State House?
Well, there are a number of things. One is that people forget history so soon. Remember, State House was the house of the people when President Moi was the president of the Republic. And he made it open, whether he was in State House Mombasa, whether he was in State House Nairobi, various state lodges in Nakuru, State House Nakuru, Eldoret State Lodge, Kakamega, and many other places where there are state lodges. President Moi made it for the ordinary people, and it was ordinary consultation. It was not like now this make-believe so-called empowerment of the people. This therefore means that those who have forgotten that history, I thought it is useful for me to remind them that this is not the first time that people are going, ordinary people are going to State House. And during Kibaki's regime, of course, that was not so much prominent. Even for us as ministers, we could go to State House when there is a purpose. Either you are going to brief him on issues of the ministry or on any other issue that he finds it relevant for that particular matter. This therefore means hyping the issue of people going to State House is nothing but just playing to the gallery. That the president is trying to look for votes from various institutions and various individuals across the land. And this, other than just doing politics, I would have wanted to see more of delegations from various parts of the country so that the president can also gauge the pulse rate of the nation, that the economy is not doing as well as he imagines, that many people find it hard to have money in their pockets. Many people are struggling with school fees. Many people are struggling with the food situation. And those who are not farmers, they are struggling on how to get a square meal a day. We have not changed the dynamics in terms of poverty situation. Yes, you are saying the economy has grown, but that is an economy that is global. Global in the sense that is growth in terms of GDP, but in terms of social transformation to the people of this country, we are yet to achieve that. And I wish we could achieve it faster, because that's the only time you can have a clear measure that there is economic growth.
You're talking about this need for us to look at transformation models, economic-wise, that are sustainable. On Saturday, we saw Kenyan youths, the mamambogas, the hustler, walk away with motorcycles, with maize milling machines, with hair and salon equipment, and a raft of other equipment to help them start their businesses or advance their businesses. What pros and cons can we get from this economic model the president is trying to use, these empowerment programs?
Well, there are a number of things. I would have expected that the president is trying to rally on a model that he has already created. I would have expected the bottom up now to have some kind of interim report on the successes of the bottom up agenda and these motorbikes, posho mills, and other sorts of trade like for air blowers and so forth, is something that is augmenting somebody already in business. Remember, some of those items are likely to have changed hands immediately they got out of State House. Because if you gave me a car like the one I'm driving,
Sure.
and does not meet my tests, I would sell it so that the money that I get from it, I use it for other means. So if you gave me a motorbike and I already have a motorbike, I will either sell the old one and make use of that money. And when it comes to posho mill, I don't know how they have expanded the landscape so that there are enough posho mills for the maize that we have. You know, for one posho mill.
We're expecting Bamba harvest from Galana Kulalu.
Oh, no. That's another story that we may need to visit when we have time. But you do not expect that in a village like where I come from,
Sure.
if there are 3 posho mills, if you bring another 3, you are not adding anything. You are just reducing the capacity of each posho mill per day, and therefore you are not creating any new business venture. So I wish the president would actually be able to have this thing sustainable by trying to understand the history of each business person. And from that history, you assist somebody according to the needs, not just blanket dishing out of goodies without necessarily checking the impact on the ground. Yeah.
The other day I was speaking to Wakili Ndegwa Njiru, and he argued that we are going into bigger tragedy if we are going to continue with the politics of tokenism and handouts. He believes that what was there on Saturday was just populism. So do you think Ruto, the president, is guilty as charged by Wakili Ndegwa Njiru?
Well, I cannot put it in better words than Wakili. It is just populism, and tokenism cannot sustain a nation. What you just need to do is, as I said, to understand our social economic dynamics, see where to punch in and where to lend a hand to already an existing business that is growing, so that we do not just spend resources where we shall have some idle machinery or some just something that is not going to be useful. Today, you as a journalist, if you are given a matatu, you may not have time to run that particular matatu, and therefore you'll be having an idle capacity. But if you are to give to somebody who already has a fleet, or somebody who has been running somebody's matatu, and you're able to take him to learn how to manage his own matatu, that would actually be something that is worth mentioning. That's why banks don't just lend money left, right, and center. What they do is to spend more time, understand the client that they have, and therefore supply according to the needs of that client. Yeah.
Credit rating and credit score comes in handy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, barely a week now, we saw the National Treasury and Economic Planning CS, John Mbadi, come forth and probably tell Kenyans, and actually told Kenyans, that there's so much we shall remember President Ruto for. As it stands today, we're going to remember him for the Mau Summit, Rironi Road. And should he be allowed to finish the remaining 7 years, then Kenya will realize dreams that they never even had in the first place. Well, this coming from CS in charge of National Treasury, would you render these remarks underwhelming? And also, does it speak to us CS being big into the politics of the day rather than talking from a point of logic and facts?
Usually people don't design their legacy. It is after they leave that you'll ask yourself, what did he leave us with? And that is why many people, they get shy. And at times they get jealous when people talk about Kibaki, because they know he never talked about his legacy. But he did things he was doing at that particular time. And when he left the scene, people remembered, yeah, this is a man who has been doing all this, but he did not talk about it. He spent time telling us what was required at that particular time. I would have expected John Mbadi to be more visionary than he is today. This is the same guy 2 years ago, he was telling us to leave Ruto with these skunks. Now he has joined the pool of skunks, and therefore that's why he's talking about things he does not even understand. Yes, you can do Limuru Rironi Road, that is okay. We'll remember you for being there at that particular time. And remember, he's not doing it with money from his pocket. This is part of the national debt that we are going to incur.
It's not a favor to the Kenyans?
It's not a favor, because we are going to pay it in the long term. And we are paying it using our own resources and using our own taxes. So for anybody to start reminding us that this is what we'll remember so and so, let them do it. If Kenyans give him a chance to serve us for another 7 years between now and the next and the other election of 2032, so be it. We will know, and we don't need to write that history. History will write itself. And by the time we reach that stage, we'll know this is what he did. But these talking of grandiose projects, trying to compare himself with other presidents who have been here and who have done certain things, you know, you cannot say he's a capsule of all the 4 presidents. And is now the best just because he happens to have learned something from the other 4. After all, we know he's not a good student of history, and he himself hates history. That's why he was telling us, how can somebody go to university to do history? Because he does not understand the basic foundation history lays to a country, a nation such as ours, and take us back to where the nation was formed in 1648. 1468, in Westphalia, where the state was formed as is today. That we are here because we are a nation, we are a state within the country called Kenya. Yeah, so these are some of the things that we need to be humble. Otherwise, you run the risk of being told you are dealing with what we call Dunning-Kruger effect, where you think you know even what you don't know. You know, and that is the problem with this regime. They pretend to be experts, even in areas where their expertise is so shallow. And that's why Mbandi is calling himself an expert in terms of economy and finance and everything else.
Economic forecast.
Yeah, when we know that this area is limited basically to accounting. Yeah, when did he become an economist? You know, these are some things people should be telling us. I cannot say because I've learned international economics and basic economics that I'm an economist.
You've done a unit in microeconomics. You are an economist.
Yeah, I've done macro, and agricultural economics. I cannot call myself an economist.
It is the first of his kind.
No, you know, that is actually abusing the profession called economics. Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears a bit, Waziri, and towards the end of last week, actually on Friday, the president ordered for the establishment of a compensation framework for victims of protest, now from 2017 to this date. And some have said that this is a good gesture, at least to give closure to families that were affected. They lost their children, they lost their spouses, and extended relatives through protests. But how do you weigh this new development from the side of President Ruto? Do you welcome it in the first place?
Well, first of all, allow me to pass my condolences to the families that have lost their loved ones because of certain protests that have taken place between now and the year 2017. Allow me also to pass my level of sympathy to those whose children were maimed, jailed, abducted. Some are still missing. And hopefully, such a closure should come also in tandem with the need for us to say enough is enough. We've heard of this. How are we improving our level of political tolerance? Because political tolerance is part of a developing nation or a developed nation or a mature nation. You cannot just say you are compensating. If my child has been lost, has been maimed, no money can compensate me. Yes, it may be a token to assist me, say, okay, at least I've gotten a blanket to cover my head overnight.
Or my child was the breadwinner.
Yes. Then in the morning, I'll remember I lost my child. So there is no amount of money, even if you are given billions of shillings, your child is a unique human being that God gives you. I don't know whether people, and I don't know whether some of the people talking about this compensation have had children. There is some unique connection between you and your child or your grandchild. So when you lose your child, there is not no amount of money, amount of reparation, amount of compensation that can replace that child. The eye contact that you had with your child, that is no more. That is something that those who are talking of compensation, they have not felt it deep enough. It has not visited them. And I just don't wish them that they lose their children. But they should reflect that the child they are paying for, whether it is Meshach or Juang, whether it's a baby Pendo, or any other child, whether it is the one who was shot at having lunch in Ndumberi, the girl I think Wanjiru, whatever child, remember the child that you love, the eye contact between you and your child. Remember, that is what somebody is saying, is giving you money and is now behaving that all of a sudden is on a high pedestal. It is not his money. It is the money from taxpayers that we are paying other Kenyans who have been killed. It is not money from William Ruto or Raila Odinga. And you know, they have the audacity to tell us, Professor Mutua is now going to be in charge of compensation. To hell with compensation. Let us say, how are we bringing this matter to a closure, that never again shall we allow our people to die in the streets because they have a different political opinion.
Fundamental questions have to be addressed.
Yes, we have to address that one.
Not these superficial engagements.
Yeah. You cannot talk of political intolerance. You are continuing. So you want to kill my child tomorrow so that you pay me the day after, so that I pay the loans that I have, or it becomes my pension. These are some of the things that we must engage usefully and truthfully to the people of Kenya. We are pretending. Raila Odinga has no audacity to tell us about compensation when he's responsible for the deaths of those children, because he's the one who took them to the street. William Ruto has no business whatsoever, because he knows they are the ones who shot and killed those children. Boniface Kariuki, the one who was selling masks, and he was shot and killed. How are you going to compensate the parents? Just by giving them money, you think you have already paid them and it is a closure?
Skeptics' argument would say that it's not happening under Ruto's presidency alone. It was there during Kenyatta's, Moi, Uhuru's. But at least we have a president who has at least made the good Samaritan move, unlike the rest of his predecessors.
Well. This is just gimmicks because there is an election coming. It is an election coming. William Ruto has not repented. He has not reached the Damascus moment. We want to see him saying, no child shall be killed under my watch.
He's still a soul?
He's soul. And he will not change. You know, that's why I'm just telling you, this is just a mere pretense. And the marriage between Raila and Ruto, they think they are going to convince the people of Kenya that Kenya is going to be better. Raila had better retire peacefully and spend the rest of his time with his grandchildren, instead of just pretending that all of a sudden it can provide answers. When Raila's problems are solved, Kenya's problems have been solved. These are some of the issues that we feel bitter about it.
We are coming to that in a few. You've talked about the need to also give, to look at this thing fundamentally, not through superficial engagements about compensating families of victims of protest. We're still handling the Albert Ojwang's death issue. And DIG Eliud Lagat seems to be far from the hook. And now citizens, some of them are looking at probably potential cover-up in the pipeline for DIG to still be in office. And it actually raises one question, Waziri. Looking at how we've handled the loss of lives through protests and also our justice system, to this end, would you say that it has been seen to favor the powerful, the mighty, while deflating the weak in the first place? And what danger do we risk running into if this is going to be the reality?
You see, Richard, something that I always insist, there is no individual, even if you made me the president tomorrow, that I can run this country better. No, that's not the answer. The answer lies with allowing institutions of state to operate independent and to be allowed to deal with issues as they are, instead of giving them political direction. The main problem with Kenya Kwanza, and that is where the rain started beating us up, is decimation of institutions, whether it is parliament, whether it is commissions that are under the constitution, whether they are independent institutions like IPOA, like the office of the public prosecutor, auditor general, all of them are being rubbished because this regime does not believe in issues of governance. The bottom line is that this is a regime that does not believe in issues of governance. So pretending that you are compensating people, you are doing cover-up, if you allowed institutions to operate, Eliud Lagat would have either been exonerated or taken to court. But you see, one time is resigned, one time he's been reinstated, one time we see him in public, one time now we are seeing 29 people going to court. We are actually abusing, we are burdening the institution of the court by ensuring that everything else we have to take it to court. If all these institutions were operating independent, or even NIS, if they were independent of the state interference, they would have said, this is what happened.
National security organs are falling.
They are falling. They are victims of William Ruto regime, who does not allow any institution to operate independent. You know, if you told me what can we do to make sure that Kenya is better, allow institutions to operate, whether it's parliament, whoever has been elected, whether he was elected or rigged in, once he's in parliament, allow him to operate, listen to him when he's a member of parliament, listen to the MCS, listen to independent institutions, Listen to to other institutions of government, like judiciary. Let it operate as it ought to operate. Don't interfere. Don't take away the seal from the office of Attorney General and you take it to State House. Allow ministers to operate independent of the rest of the executive. Otherwise, why do you have 20-something ministers when everything else is being done by the office of the president?
So even having Bishop David Ongide as the chairperson of EACC won't help us fight graft in the first place if the goodwill doesn't come from above.
That I can tell you, and I'm happy he did a wonderful prayer the other day. And I think he prayed so well that even the president, wherever he was seated, he realized that those prayers were actually directed at him. That's the only thing that I can say he's going to do. Anything else, he's going to be frustrated, like many others who have been there before. There was a Bishop
Wabukala,
SEK. Yeah, SEK.
Lumumba, you name
it. Some people left halfway, like Lumumba could not last the period, because those who appointed him realized that he was not going to be useful to them the way they expected. So these are some of the issues that we are pretending, and it's like we don't know this country. The little that I know about Kenya, allow institutions to operate. If I was to be part of any regime, I will tell them it's not about what you are telling us. Allow us to operate independent of your mismanagement or micromanagement. That's the issue. Yeah.
You flagged the issue of us emasculating institutions that should be independent in this country to the point of even the NIS. Yeah. So if indeed NIS was as independent as it should be, now they will have actually dived into the claim from Rigathi Gachagua that this government has links with Al-Shabaab and other terror groups. That's what you believe?
That's what I believe. And you see, Murkomen was saying that he should go to DCI when he arrives.
And if he fails to do so, to Mathare for mental assessment.
Okay. So he can also take me there, whether Mathare or DCI. Because you see, if you say, I'm negotiating with Richard, and the chiefs are released after negotiating with Richard, it means I know who Richard is. So how could they negotiate with Al-Shabaab unless they know Al-Shabaab? You know, these are some of the basics that we are asking ourselves.
Same as saying I'm going to stop abductions. It means you know
who has been abducting, and you know why abductions have been going on, and you know which button to switch on or off for abductions to stop or to begin.
Does it mean Kenya can stoop that low to engage with terror groups?
Well, that is the unfortunate situation. That's why internationally our image is coming down. If it's not terror group, we are RSF. Who are those? Those are negative elements in terms of the state as we know. The ones in DRC, those are negative elements.
M23.
M23. How are you dealing with them? Why are you dealing with them?
Late as it may be, does the president still need classes on diplomacy?
Who?
The president, late as it may be, does he still need classes on diplomacy?
Is he capable of learning? Because he believes he knows everything. He says he's an expert in every endeavor. Even areas where we've done so well in studying to a high level of degree, he believes he knows better than us.
But what do you expect from someone who said he's the best thing to happen to Kenya, the best president Kenya has ever had? He's only bringing forth his credentials and self-belief.
Well, I'm happy that he still believes in himself because the rest of us have moved on.
Believing in your own lies or in the miasma of your own
confusion? He believes in himself, which is also good. Otherwise, if you don't believe in yourself, you will go mad. That's the next stage. The next stage is if he realizes he no longer believes in himself, he will go mad. Yeah.
Chinua Achebe talks about too much ambition killing a man. We want to understand, for the case of our president and Kenya Kwanza administrations, is it that they harbor too much ambition, or it's you that are not patient enough to see them realize what is achievable ambition from them?
No, the whole problem, Richard, is that when it's about affordable housing, who is doing the housing? Who is supplying the materials? Whether it's cement, whether it's metal, whether it is all manner of materials that are being used. Who is in charge of affordable housing? Why didn't we use National Housing Corporation? When it is the Hustler Fund, they say they don't have a committee. E-Citizen, the other day we were told 11 billion are missing. Why does this president create a parallel system and those systems are replete with negative effects on the economy of this country. How can he pretend that all of a sudden he is doing everything to the best of his knowledge when he knows all these are pipes to take away resources from the economy to other sources that we do not know? Can he tell us today who is in charge of affordable housing? Why is affordable housing under the presidential degree when there is National Housing Corporation, which could have done the same thing to the same extent? Who is the supplier of metal? How are those suppliers connected with him? Does he do anything that he does not have direct interest in?
Spirit of a good Samaritan still exists in some people.
Well, I wish he does that when he's out of office. Yeah.
I am afraid because, Waziri Kirwa, you seem to be one of those people who have already concluded that any further PPP engagements, that is public-private partnerships between Kenya Kwanza government and any other government out here or investor, should be treated with a level of contempt. Now you are looking at coming up with a new airport following the cancellation of JKA Adani deal. Even that, should we question it more even before it takes off?
You know, why why did we put in the Constitution the need for public participation? It was essentially to make everything transparent, so that if, for example, I have resources to build a certain stadium in Kitale or anywhere in this country, I should be allowed, but I should be allowed to go through the due process such that other competitors who want to offer the same service are given a chance. And at the end of the day, I must be assessed against my competition so that I'm given a chance to prove that I'm the best. And those who don't get it will know why they have not gotten it, because they lack certain credentials. Or if I fail to get it, I know somebody better than me managed to get it, and the job is going to be done better than I would have done it myself, despite the fact that I will lose that income that I expected from that bidding. That is why it is in the Constitution.
Public participation.
Public participation is an integral part of this Constitution. Allow the public to participate, because all these are resources belonging to the public. They don't belong to the president. They don't belong to the government of the day. The government of the day is just a midwife that assists a child to be transferred from the womb to safe custody of the mother. Yeah, and no midwife can take away children and say they are in safer custody when she's with the children of so many mothers.
So under Kenya Kwanza administration's public participation seems to remain a mirage.
It's a mirage because they don't believe in open and transparent way of doing business.
Opaque transactions, personal interest, and therefore public interest is lost. Public interest is lost.
Yep.
Right, Waziri, let's cross over and engage in probably the high-octane politics of today here in Kenya and across the region. And Rigathi Gachagua talks of Raila Odinga as a man who wants power but with zero responsibility. And you even questions the existence of ODM in the first place within Kenya Kwanza government. What do you make of this assessment from Rigathi Gachagua regarding Raila's historical handshakes? Have they just served personal goals rather than responsibility that are for the better good of the people?
Well, I will answer that by reminding Kenyans that the only time Raila never shook hands with the government of the day is between 2013 and 2017. Otherwise, invariably, in his entire political career, including resigning as a member of parliament for Lang'ata under Fort Kenya ticket, was part of the handshake. Because in that by-election that ensued when he ran on NDP, he was fully sponsored by KANU. I can say this without any fear of contradiction. He used to come to Mactaw's house in Lavington to pick money, and happens to have been there twice or thrice during that particular by-election, while KANU itself had a candidate in the name of Fred Amayo.
You'd still say the same if Raila was in the room today?
Yes, I would say, but I'm saying it in public. This thing will get to the public domain, and Raila will hear that, and he knows that I was there in Mactaw's house 3 times when he came to pick the money. Yeah, I'm saying it because now we have to be open Otherwise, history is going to judge us unfairly or harshly when we keep some of this information away from the public domain. There's no other time Raila has been doing it just because it is in the interest of the public.
They say silence in the face of oppression means you've chosen side with the oppressor.
Well, I've chosen side with the people of Kenya because if there is anything I can offer them is to offer them what I know.
That's why you are speaking on this show today,
Well,
about Raila pocketing money from Macto.
Yeah, from Macto. 3 times. And yet, Kanu had his own candidate in the name of Frederick Okiki Amayo. Somebody who is still alive. He can attest to that. The boy was arrested and was taken to custody, ostensibly because he was too rough, because they wanted to pave the way for Raila, so that Raila splits for Kenya. Yeah.
Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o talks of ODM is working with government, but it is not in government. In the first place, do you think ODM is adding to the confusion when it comes to the opposition in Kenya?
Well, it is still the same thing, Raila. I don't even blame the party called ODM because there are many members of ODM who are not happy with this arrangement. The so-called is it?
Broad-based.
Broad-based or bread-based or whatever it is anyway. I don't want to add more semantics. But it is just Raila doing it. You saw it the other day when he was defending it and saying, we'll present our case, you present your case, and we'll see who is believable. And you could see it is a personal thing. It is no longer about the party. But good enough at times, because we've done a bit of industrial psychology, you could get from the audience that it was not as enthusiastic as when Orengo arrived and when Anyang' Nyong'o arrived.
The aura was missing?
It was missing. It was missing. You could see this is a deal that they have grafted, but they don't know how to sell it to the people. That's why he was annoyed with the people, and yet it is not the people who are annoyed. He should not be annoyed with the people. The people have given him a lot of respect. And at times we've given him a way of giving him a lot of credentials, even what he doesn't possess.
Including being the
Consistency in politics, there are no two things. There are no two things. It's not about your education. It's not about your money. It's not about your wealth. It is your stand. When you lose a stand in politics, you have lost it.
Just like that.
It's just like you've lost it. You may be connish, like some people have been conning people here and there. Some people were together in UDM. They went back to President Moi, presented their case. They were made ministers. Later on, they lost the election. You know, some people, but lack of a stand.
Political dukawalas.
You know, just say this is what I stand for. You cannot just be a merchant. You know, anything else, you are a merchant. You can sell even the coffin of your mother in preparation for the money, saying in this particular, let me sell it. When she dies, I will organize another coffin.
It's very sad.
Yeah, it is. It is unfortunate. And this is the state of affairs of Kenya. Yeah, I'm saying it as it is.
We have to peel back the mask.
Yeah, we have to. We have to say as is. Let them not pretend. Raila and Ruto, let them not pretend. 2007, they know what happened. And that's how they got into the broad-based government.
That's a highly emotive subject, Waziri, we bring
it up. It is, but I'm saying they know what happened. I'm not saying they kill people. They know what happened.
You've talked about we are slowly going back to 2007. If you're going to go big on this tribal early campaigns mobilization and talking about should our candidate not win, this or that will happen.
Well, the beauty this time, we may not reach there because majority, you know, 2007 election, it was so thin. We don't know. Some say Kibaki stole. In some constituencies where Raila comes from, the turnout was more than 100%. How can people turn out 100% and yet some who registered might have died, some were in hospital, some might have gotten inconvenience in one way or the other. You remember Nyatike was 100% turnout. Anyway, that's a story for another day. You will remind us of the Rakanithi and I'll remind you of Nyatike and Marakwet East. You remember some of those issues that happened at that particular time. But the most important thing is that this election is not going to be so narrow. Imagine. It is very clear. Even if you are to be split into two forces as the opposition, it is very clear. William Ruto will go home in round one. Yeah.
But Kenya Kwanza insiders say the president has made inroads to the hearts of the Gen Z. Even that visit on Saturday to State House was him just placing the last nail on the political coffin of that Ruto must go slogan or Occupy State House slogan. Will that visit translate to actual votes from the Gen Z, at least to narrow that gap you're talking about?
Well, narrowing the gap is impossible because I've been around, I've won and I've lost elections, and at times you can feel that there is a win and there is a loss. So for this one, nothing can salvage him unless he has to bring some magic in the next 1.5 years or so. Otherwise, he's gone.
Or divine intervention for that case?
Well, divine intervention also assists where God knows it is in the interest of the people of Kenya. But I feel this regime has lost that moral authority, and God is kind to the people of Kenya.
But SG for Kotu, Francis Atwoli, last week opined that President William Ruto is a God-chosen president. Leaders are elected. Leaders actually anointed by God. So how dare do you question the place of God in giving Ruto a second term come 2027?
I'm not questioning the place of God. I'm questioning the place of Atwoli. The same Atwoli who was telling the people of Sugoi to cut all the trees lest William Ruto hangs himself after losing the 2022 elections. Is the same Atwoli now advising us, or now William Ruto will win the next election? If he wins, that's okay. A win or a loss is here, but I'm giving you statistics according to the information available to me. They might change. Possibly they might change such that by 2027, if you are to call me here, I will tell you, okay, the guy seems to have a chance. But as of now, there is no chance that William Ruto can win.
But things actually might change because Francis Atwoli over the weekend, while speaking about the Mulembe Nation, talked about how they, the boomers, how they, the old guards, have the password to Mulembe Nation, and they are the people who will crown the king when it comes to the Western vote. Is Atwoli living in utopia in the first place when it comes to him being the shepherd, the custodian of Mulembe Nation?
My worry is not the fact that he has a password. Perhaps he has, but he might forget it between now and the next election. Yeah, he might forget about it.
Sifuna Edwin actually questioned the password, saying it could be the wrong password that is no longer working.
It may not be wrong. He'll forget it himself. And it is we who will unlock it. Yeah.
Atwoli says it's him, Mudavadi, and such who hold the key to Mulembe Nation. Or even who's going to be the president come 2027. And they're pointing figures at Ruto getting a second term.
No, I don't like getting annoyed with Atwoli. The guy will have forgotten. I can assure you, whoever wins the presidency, Atwoli will be the first one to State House. I'm telling you.
Even if your candidate wins?
Even if Atwoli will be there. He's still the chairman of Kotu. And he has another international position. He will be there with another set of uniform. He might change the color.
Almost finally, let's talk about the former DP Rigathi Gachagua, now actually about his political future and political present.
Yes.
And DCP leader seems to be one person who is lethal home and away when it comes to the politics of this country. And Murkomen talks about should he not file information with the DCI, then he risks being arrested by this administration. An attempt to arrest Rigathi Gachagua, how do you weigh it? Will it now elevate him to some level of prominence and probably give him a Matiba moment in the first place, or that will intimidate him to silence?
Well, this regime seems to talk without weighing. Some things, they are the ones who assist us to remind us, and we go back to the social media to check what did Rigathi Gachagua say that is making Murkomen unhappy. They are the ones who publicize him. And by arresting him, if they were to arrest him, well, they will make him a hero. He's a hero already, but they will actually raise him slightly above a hero.
He'll be larger than life?
He will be a martyr. A martyr? Yes.
Arresting him is giving him a Mandela moment?
Yes, because you see, why arrest him? If he's lying about what he has said, then let somebody sue him, even a private citizen, on the basis of that. Otherwise, this is just politics from Murkomen. And Murkomen talks before he thinks. That's my worry.
Including talking about any public servant who is out here to speak negatively about the government risks losing their job.
Well, they don't realize the public service is very protective of their own. It's not as easy, even if the president was to sack. Remember, when the former president was head of state, he talked about sacking certain public servants. They were never sacked. They served until they retired. Yeah.
Any anti-government official during your Kibaki era's agriculture CS, you don't have the power to fire them.
It's not easy.
On those grounds.
You know, you must say, what do you mean by anti-government? Somebody saying this is not good policy does not constitute being anti-government. Because at times some policies, they are passed, and after a certain period, they are done away with. This therefore means an officer in their own rightful position must be able to advise the government, rightly so, about the way to do things. And that is where they have failed. They don't seem to listen to public servants. And many of them know what ought to be done. They know where mistakes have been made. They know how to correct those mistakes. And therefore, public servants, actually the moral authority that assists the government to run itself. Yep.
Let's cross over and talk about matters to do with your party, DAP Kenya. We are at a time whereby we are seeing widening rift between Eugene Wamalwa, party leader, and Governor George Natembeya, deputy party leader. And some want to understand, is Governor Natembeya more of a rabble rouser when it comes to the politics here in Kenya, and more particularly DAP Kenya politics? And some are also questioning, could be working at the behest of someone who is against the People's Loyal Opposition?
Well, let me say this, because I think today is a day a committee is going to be constituted.
Sure.
Because dispute has been registered, because there are 4 petitions raised by either side about certain things that they feel can be done better. And this therefore means if that committee is going to be formed today, the committee will go through the issues and declare itself on the basis of the issues raised. And therefore I would be preempting if I was to make myself a judge in a situation that I'm least involved. And number 2, remember, even the chair of that committee, from the information available to me, is supposed to be somebody who qualifies to be a judge of the High Court or a retired judge. I'm in neither of that capacity, and therefore I don't have any moral, legal, or intellectual authority to make a judgment on the character of the 2 individuals. And given the fact that one is my governor and another one is my party leader, I would want them to resolve that dispute amicably. And I'm sure the team that will be appointed is going to deal with that matter amicably. Yeah.
All right. Finally, Waziri, let me rope in the reservations of Nairobi women representative Esther Parasaris regarding the governance of President Ruto and his future in terms of leadership here in Kenya. And Parasaris says Ruto is not a sly coot, but a man on a mission to transform Kenya before it's too late. Love him or hate him, he understands our problems, the urgency to fix them, and has the courage to act even when it's unpopular. Do you read wisdom behind these remarks by Esther Parasaris, Nairobi Women Rep? And is there an ounce of truth behind her reservations?
Well, that's our opinion, and I respect people's opinion. I don't want to say much about it. The only thing is that I may disagree to certain sorts that they are playing to the gallery. They are allowing Ruto to continue massaging his bloated ego, and therefore justifying some of the wrongs he has done to our society. Let's go back to the 11 billion that has been lost because of e-citizen. Until it is otherwise proven that that money came back, I still believe that this regime is responsible for that. Either Ruto himself knows where the money is, or is in custody of that money, 11 billion.
Just that.
That is what I'm saying. And until I'm proven otherwise, That is the position. And if there is a disaster that befell our country, it's for us to have one William Ruto presiding over the destiny of this country as the president. He doesn't qualify to hold our taxes. We don't trust him with our taxes. And we made that mistake of giving the opportunity to be in charge of our taxes, knowing very well his record from the time he grabbed the processional way, which some people are denying, the time he sold some piece of land to Kenya Pipeline for 292 million, and many other improprieties that he has done, including Muteshi's land. People should have learned from that history that this is somebody dangerous should he access the resources of the nation.
A case of sticky fingers for things that do not belong to someone.
Well, I don't know whether they are sticky or itchy for money, but the issue is we should have learned from history.
A while back, you opined that for Esther Parasaris, when it comes to her future in Kenyan politics, she has already started writing her political obituary, all thanks to her latest moves politically, going to bed with the government of today, playing much more to blind sycophancy. Those were your reservations. As it stands today, from where you sit, do you still believe that she's just living on borrowed time politically if she's going to continue on this path she has taken?
Well, I've always maintained that never write an obituary of a politician unless you are standing on his or her grave. But I wish this girl called Asige,
Crystal
Asige could go for that position and acquit herself of being nominated senator so that she has her own credentials and she can focus. I don't know where she comes from. She's a Kenyan, but I would prefer that she does it here in Nairobi. If I had a way of reaching her, I would tell her, go for Women Rep Nairobi.
She'll give Parasaris a run for her money?
She will take the seat in the morning. She does not need even to do a lot of rallies. She just needs to do one rally. And that's enough. Then she'll wait for the elections.
Even if Karen Nyamu throws also her weight in the ring?
No. Even if all those who have run for Women Rep in Nairobi was to throw their weight to any other person, that is the lady that I will vote for. If my vote will be Nairobi.
Crystal Asige.
Yeah, Crystal Asige. Yeah.
Well, it's at that point, when you're talking about the future for Crystal Asige, that we also usher you to our informative segment, Heroes Corner with Waziri Kipchirchir. We extend our debt of gratitude in this segment to personalities that have actually made their contribution to this country, to this world, and contributions that are really helping us to forge ahead in a better way. So Waziri today, shujaa wetu nani?
Well, before I mention the shujaa or the hero or the heroine, it is very informative to say that those of us who have been in public office and this public space, in most cases our children hardly aspire to get into the same offices. Because of the harassment they go through while we serve in those offices without our knowledge that we are harassing our families. But I was thrilled, at the same time inspired, to see the daughter of the late President of Tanzania, John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, ran for a seat within the CCM party. Jessica John Pombe Magufuli.
Jessica John Pombe Magufuli.
Yes.
Daughter to the late president.
The late president. And I was so gratified that as I listened to her, she has some sense of focus, some sense of gratitude to the people who have assisted the country to be where it is. She has some sense of patriotism, and she is unified in her thinking on how Tanzania can be a better country. Only at the age of 29. I was thrilled, I was happy. I play that clip anytime I have a moment. And she was rallying the youth of Tanzania to think about how to deal with the issues of the nation. And she gave us, her number was number 10, 10, for those who are going to vote for her as a way of approving our rating and our position in terms of getting to the next stage in the party election process. That is the person who made me feel happy this week. And I said, I must mention to you, so that at your age, realize that it can make a difference. You don't have to make everything be done the way you want. But even the little that you do to society makes a difference. And that is what counts. You must have the courage, and you must have the stand, and be able to stand up and say it as clearly as she did it.
Despite being born into privilege.
Into privilege, whatever it is. And I realized, because she had given us earlier on our position about our father, the way when he was at home, he was not the president, he was the father. You would check whether they came early, whether their rooms are locked. You would go around the house to see whether everything is okay. At night, perhaps about 3 or 4 a.m.
And he wasn't putting up a show?
He was not putting up a show. That's what the girl was telling us. How the Magufuli that we knew was very strict at home.
More of Mama Lucy Kibaki kinda?
Oh yes, but with a bit of humility and a bit of focus on the need for the children to have a future beyond him. Jessica has proven that the father did something, and I'm happy. I pray for her, and I pray for her future. That is what we should be seeing in this country, especially some deep sense of patriotism. When Tanzanians talk, you realize they may not like us, but do you like your neighbors yourself? In most cases, we don't like our neighbors, because either they do better than us, or they feel they want to catch up with us. Tanzania, they have deep sense of patriotism.
Patriotism?
And humility. Yeah, humility. So that anything people say, first they submit to God, they submit to the nation, and they submit to the four founding fathers and mothers of the nation. That's why all the time they'll remind you about Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, that the taasisi, you know, mwanzilishi wa nchi hii ambaye alijenga taasisi ya taifa letu. 1, 2, 3. I hope those who are going on high pedestal like our president will have the humility to say, let history judge me. He will not just tell us how good compared to the other 4 presidents that came before him. Yeah.
But soon enough, maybe he might talk about his humility being that akin to one of Julius Nyerere. He's already talked about Moi, Kenyatta, Uhuru. Will you be surprised if he compares his humility with that of Nyerere?
Well, I will tell him Nyerere has left 52 acres as part of his ancestral land. And if that is one, he should go back to the little land that he had at the beginning of time and surrender the rest to Kenyans, including 6,000 acres, 500 in Narok, and Laikipia, Taita Taveta, and so forth.
It's after that that he can now make the comparison with Nyerere.
He can compare himself with Nyerere. When Nyerere died, he had less than $10,000 in his account. When Kaunda died, also he had less than $10,000 in his account. And yet he was the president of Zambia for more than 20-something years.
Not that he had hid some at Cayman's Island, in Dubai, you name it?
We would have known by now. Yeah. We would have known by now.
The offshore accounts?
Yes, we would have known the offshore accounts, whatever they have.
Finally, would you then implore President Samia Suluhu maybe to hold the hand of Jessica Magufuli, or Jessica should chart her path outside that of Samia Suluhu?
No, she's part of the system, and I would encourage Samia Suluhu Hassan to realize, even tomorrow when she leaves office, because even if she wins this election, this should be her final term. When she leaves office, she should take solace in the fact that Magufuli's daughter has already thrown her heart into the ring. And this therefore means the future of Tanzania with young people and women, for that particular matter, is still bright. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much, Waziri, for your incredible insights, and also for slating time for this program this week.
It's my pleasure, all the time.
All right, fantastic. Until we get to do this again on Richard Mwenje Exclusive, do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Also catch other editions on the channel with Jadiel Kabiro and Evan Sokini.